Ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to be in the presence of the world fake famous, HBO certified, real black astronaut interviewing, expletive, great accolade having person, Feek Blurman. Now, you're going to put some music behind this, right?
I didn't plan on it.
I want like the Rock's music, maybe.
It's
old music, not like the new super rock one, but like the real cool.
I really don't know how I'm gonna deal with you. I have no idea. Jesus. Anyway,
welcome everybody to the Westworld recap show.
Yeah, we haven't come up with episode 2. We haven't come up with a fancy name for it. We got to
Westworld recap. That's tough.
Right. How about y'all? Y'all come up with a name.
Help us out. I came up with a lot of names.
Yeah.
State Your Dad's Hall of Fame, Rune, Sit Your Ass Down Award. All of those are mine.
No. You said
all of those are mine. Which one is not mine?
Rune, because
Rune is definitely mine.
Random Untitled Nerd episode was not you.
Rune was me. I didn't say Random Untitled Nerd episode. I said Rune. I put it together.
Semantics. Anyway. Feek, go ahead. Go into what we've been up to.
Right. So before we get into the episode.
Yeah, which was a stellar episode.
Yeah. Just further whetting my appetite for this show. I can't wait till this weekend where I can finally watch the episode with like everybody else and not have to hold my tongue. So as you all know from the last couple of episodes, what's up?
I was about to say, so you said watch it with everybody else instead of having, never mind.
Like having watched it ahead of time and not be able to talk to anybody.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right. So as getting into the point, so as you all, know from previous episodes, we were hinting at and maybe overly explaining now that we were lucky enough to be selected by HBO to do a special, I guess, promotional event with them that happened actually this past Friday, where we went to a private screening of Westworld episode 2, in which I was able to sit on a panel and just talk sci-fi and nerd the fuck out with three other really nerdy black people. It was dope. They had models at the front door dressed like the girls and the hostesses at the beginning of Westworld in episode 2. They had like hors d'oeuvres, fancy ass shit I'd never seen before. It was just slick and cool. They had official costumes there. I met Leland Melvin, who is a real black astronaut. I got a quick interview with him. He's the coolest motherfucker in the world. He's hopefully going to be on the show because like there's so much I could say about him, but I want him to be able to say it for himself whenever we get him on the show. I think we'll be the first black podcast with a black astronaut on the show. I feel like,
yeah, I'm pretty sure in our circle we have pioneered that. That will be the first.
Right. And so I just want to thank all of y'all so much. Some of y'all probably saw my go live. Is that what it's called?
That is definitely not called go live, but we'll go with that for right now.
Yeah. Whatever my go live thing was, I want to again thank like the whole entire community. Because, without y'all, we wouldn't have even gotten this look, you know what I'm saying? And whatever it leads to. Yeah. And I want to thank, Aaron and the rest of the crew for knowing how much better I am than all of them and just saying like Feek, like this is for you. You do this because none of us are as good as you. You
are so lucky. So I'm not going to lie. The whole time that you're going through this, I am kind of stewing in the background. Like, man, I just want to be there. But you know what? You deserve it, dog. Like
thank you.
Like I said, you work hard for this, and I get my enjoyment off watching my people, get busy. So
it's definitely just because I live in Atlanta. That was the luckiest part is being the only one left living in Atlanta. Because Polo left a little while back. CY didn't leave the show obviously, but he moved back to the Midwest. CJ, I think, was out of town, and this wouldn't have been CJ's lane anyway. But and then you back in the Midwest too.
But no, this was suited for you. Like out of everybody in the crew, I would have still had you do it.
I ain't gonna front. Me and Leland had a moment in sci-fi-ness on the stage because I can talk, as Y'all know. And when I'm not playing the Feet Blurman character, I probably am a little more eloquent and a little less frazzled. And so like we really just got into like we went into this whole theory about evolution and the evolution. So first the theory was do the robots in the show do they have souls, or should they be considered life, and is what is being done to them wrong? And we went back and forth a little bit with a couple of people, and I kind of said, well, yeah, it is wrong because the robots are made of the same stuff we are, Right. And I was struggling with the word, and Lena was like, "You mean star stuff?" And I was like, "Yeah,
There you go. Yeah,
we had a moment. We made out for like 10 minutes on the
stage. None of that happened. Thank you.
But no, like, and that was the type of conversation it was. It was us like having these really like just deep, super nerdy discussions about science and a little bit of religion. What does it mean to be alive, and applying evolution to robots? Because the point I made that I'm gonna bring back and finally bring us into the show is Dolores, the blonde, the main character. They said she's the oldest robot in the game, right?
And they just kind of yada yada it when they said it. So.
Right. So peep this. Peep the theory we kind of came up with. Think about how they were getting ready to put Thandi Newton's character. What's her character's name? I'm not sure.
Oh, Maeva or Maeva?
Maeve. Maybe I think it might have been Maeve.
I have to look it up, but it starts with an M. I want to say it's Maeve.
So they were getting ready to put her out of commission. They were getting ready to put her down because she wasn't just doing a good enough job of her job in the Westworld. And when we first episode, we saw there were hundreds, probably thousands of derelict, unused robots that were no longer in commission because they essentially, going back to evolutionary terms, they didn't survive. They weren't good enough to keep up. You know what I'm saying? So what does it say about Dolores, and how ill is Dolores going to be in that she has been able to survive this long and has not been put out to pasture?
Yo, and you know what? I got some stuff for that because there's some societal stuff in there too.
True.
Because she was able to survive off those looks as well and be accepted.
But even that,
but do you see what I'm saying though? Like,
I agree with that. But I don't think they're gonna go there too tough. I think they'll go there a little bit.
No, it's just something I noticed. I'm not saying that they're going to go there with that.
Yeah, another thing I noticed is watching the second episode again with the folks is how the prostitutes are all multinational. It's not just white prostitutes.
Right.
You got the vaguely Middle Eastern girl. You got Thandi. There was a dark chocolate prostitute. There were several white prostitutes. There was an Asian dude at the beginning of this show. Like it speaks to a lot of different things going on.
So basically, all in all, we still got more stuff coming out. Hopefully, I can get some audio from the panel if I can. I'll definitely.
We're gonna have that. According to the, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's a tease. That's what's called a tease.
Oh.
Yeah.
We'll see what else we got for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we got some more. Maybe we don't.
I'm gonna teach you yet, man. So let's get into it. Actually, you know what? I'm talking like it's my fucking show. If you want to talk some more, you talk some more. I ain't.
So I guess let's just kind of run down the show. We meet a brand new character, two brand new characters, essentially two normal humans from the outside world getting ready to hit Westworld. One guy is clearly a person that's been there multiple times, and another guy is his first time. He's all mopey and emo, and they have this scene. Where he deliberately picks the white hat because they bring him back to their room. She gives him all kinds of opportunities. Like you want to fuck, like that's basically what she says to him. And then it's like, all right, which will you choose? And it's the white hat, black hat. Even those rows of them, he chooses the white hat, and that's symbolic. Even going into Western, tropes from well before the show is that the black hat meant you were a villain, the white hat meant you were good.
You know what, Feek? Before we do that. Let's just give a synopsis.
Of the first episode?
Yeah, of the doc. Or that's on the doc. So we kind of know
Oh,
so we don't miss anything.
I haven't pulled that up. Actually,
it's all good.
I got it on my phone right here. So, all right. So, synopsis. So here's the episode 2 synopsis. A pair of guests, first timer William and repeat visitor Logan, arrive at Westworld with different expectations and agendas. Bernard and quality assurance head Teresa Cullen debate whether recent host anomaly is contagious. Meanwhile, the man in black conscripts a condemned man, Lawrence, to help him uncover Westworld's deepest secrets. Ooh, excuse me, sorry. What this other stuff?
No, that's just breaking down what happened. Okay. Scene by scene. You don't have to talk about it, but it's just kind of notes and stuff for us to glance at.
Got you. So they talk about Walter and Logan. So I guess we'll start there. I am immediately convinced that, well, not Walter, William, that William, the good guy, is not going to be a good guy when this is all said and done. I am 100% sure of this.
Really? I think that we just found our protagonist. Like, I'm the complete opposite. I kind of think that it's a reason why he was the one that chose the white hat, and that it was such a stark difference from his so-called friend.
And see, I think the obviousness and the overtness and the heavy-handedness of how good he is is exactly why he can't be trusted.
That is true.
Because he's so, like, they really drove home, he's the good one.
But did you notice what he said when he was in bed with old girl?
No, I don't remember. Did he have somebody he was waiting for?
Not only that, but he basically said he was at work.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe he's a part of the whole subplot, trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, there's way more to him than he's the good guy. You know what I'm saying? So maybe he doesn't end up being a bad guy, like an antagonist, but the person he's playing right now is not going to be who he is by season's end. That's all I'm saying.
I can agree with that. Yeah, I can definitely either way, because right now he's playing the whole meek, kind of frail character. Now, either he's going to be ultra heroic or he's going to be like beyond evil.
He did give Dolores that look, and that's how it starts.
Right. Yeah.
So because Dolores now has 3 different men vying for her attention.
At least.
Right.
At least. It might be more.
And the friend's got to die. He's got to catch that Jeffrey.
You think
that
so?
Joffrey. Yeah. I don't know when, but he's got to catch that Joffrey.
Yeah, he got to go, man. Because I can't. His friend is almost too much of a character.
Yeah, he's like he's like a Tyler Perry level villain. Like, like, I am awful. Look at me. Look at all the fucked up shit I'm doing, and I'm gay. Like I don't adhere to your sexual morality either.
Right.
Like pick a thing to dislike. I'm really good looking. Go, I stabbed a guy. Like, and I hope that didn't come off wrong. Like, I'm telling you what the writers did on purpose. They made him a uber good looking, what's the word I'm looking for? Flaunting gender norm, asshole. I'll kill anybody. I'm going to fuck everything that moves. I don't care. Character. So we would hate him and enjoy when he dies. So he's going to, not to say that I'm really not saying this well. So the joke in there was that they're so blatant with it. They added the gay thing just to make sure that anybody that wasn't sure was going to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they had to make sure they covered all their bases.
Right. That's all I'm saying. I hope nobody took that as me disparaging, gay characters. You've never heard that. Y'all know me.
I think it was implied with what we're talking about.
Right.
Trust me being as sensitive as I am to that type of stuff, I would have called you out on it. So there's a scene that we got to talk about that happened before. And it's the intro scene. The one part he says is, or the woman says, all you do is make choices. I feel like that whole intro was just a crash course in how this show is going to go.
Right.
Because you got to think about it. This in the episodes are happening throughout the park with the AI. They're also talking about rampant AI. So AI that is starting to travel, starting to infect other AI. Like that, this is some high concept shit. And for them to get that in within the first 15 minutes, kind of shows me that we really kind of don't know what we're dealing with here.
And one thing that came up at the panel that actually I brought up, we have no idea how time is working right now.
Yes.
There's no indication as to, like, is this all happening in over the course of a couple of days? Like Ed Harris's character, the Man in Black, does he go in every day and like do wild shit and like get further each time? Is that what he's trying to do, or is he like, you know what I'm saying, or are we following his, 2-3 week long travel into the maze that he's trying to find? Like, what's really happening?
So also, and then we'll need to get back to the beginning of the story, but did you notice that they said that it's a guest that's killing everything, but they didn't seem to know it was him, even though he's been
no, they didn't know. The guy said that guy gets to do whatever he wants.
And that's yes. The reason I said that is because they didn't make it a big deal, because everybody else, if a guy's been coming for 30 years, you wouldn't know who that guest is.
Right.
So is it that when he said that, did he know who that guest was?
I think it was implied that Ed Harris's character, the Man in Black, is not just some old kook that loves the place. He's clearly some type of whale for the
right.
Westworld. He's one of their regulars. It's kind of like you go to a strip club and you always see that one guy that looks like Mo from The Simpsons in the corner with like two strippers, and they're so friendly, but the reality is very different. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So like I think it's something like that he's a regular, and I don't think they know what he's doing though.
Yeah.
That or the game is way deeper than we understand as of yet.
That
you see what I'm saying? They might know what he's doing, but they're like, yeah, that's just part of the game.
Yeah, because they haven't really touched on what's on the outer rim of the world. Like they keep saying the outer rim. But Ed Harris is trying to get to the middle.
Right.
So it's supposed to get more intense the further you get out, not the more you go in.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that part.
So
there's so many ways. We have no clue where they're going. And that was another thing that came up at the panels, that they could pop, like aliens could pop out. And it would be like, okay, yeah, I guess so. Because there's no indication. It's such a good mystery right now. But yeah, so what's next? We got Ed Harris. Let's talk about Ed Harris again.
Okay.
So the one thing I don't like about the show thus far, although it is enjoyable. What do you think I'm about to say? I'm talking about Ed Harris.
I don't know. I kind of like everything. Well, you know what? Ed Harris's character annoys me.
Right, but what's the most annoying thing that he does?
What, the monologuing?
No, I like the monologue. I fucking love the monologue.
I feel like
I hate what happens after the monologue.
Yeah, he is the amount of violence that he has and the way he treats these characters, he can't be the villain. Like
it's so over the top, it's like what makes it worse is that narratively speaking, it's not overly effective. Like he's sitting there, right?
Yes.
And he's threatening the guy, his daughter, and his wife. So this is the main Ed Harris scene. He does do some shit beforehand, but he's got this guy, his daughter, and his wife, and he's got them tied up, and he's threatening the wife with a gun, and he shoots the wife in the head. And although, like, part of you, because you're just you feel violence is abhorrent, and how do you shoot a man's wife in front of him, but you also know, like, she's gonna be back tomorrow. Like, why am I concerned? Why would this work? If these characters are that just doesn't. They have to make that make sense to me.
So no, that part makes sense.
No, it doesn't. How does that? Let me finish. Think about it for a second. What about threatening the character's life makes them? So it may make sense, but it means that there's a big piece we don't understand, because the little girl eventually outs herself as the person that knows the secret, right?
Right.
So either she is self-aware about the she has to be somewhat self-aware, which means she probably knows that her mom really isn't her mom and her mom really isn't dead. So like the impetus for him getting the answer out of her doesn't fully make sense. You see what I'm saying?
But see, the thing I always think about is it's still a game. So maybe that was the trigger.
Maybe that was just him. The game theory in this, that's another thing I pointed out. If you've ever studied video game, whoever made this studied video games and like game theory, like not just, I played all the shit since Atari, like studied game design, because the way they're talking about the game and the way they like have set up this world where it's Fallout, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or Skyrim, Grand Theft Auto, or shit, what am I tripping? Red Dead Redemption. Why didn't I go that first?
Definitely Red Dead. Evil Red Dead Redemption.
Right.
But yeah, I just feel like he's playing himself. Like so far in these 2 episodes, there's not a lot of character building, but he can't be evil. Like at this point, he's done too much evil shit too early on to be that evil. Like it has to be another layer that we're just not seeing as of right now.
Did you also peep the little nuance? So after that, the fight scene to me again is like, it's cool to look at, but it's kind of like, why? There's no real value. Like we know Ed Harris isn't going to die.
Right.
And we know the other people aren't really dead, but that's just my, I've been too positive like the last 3-4 weeks. I got to get it out. But did you notice when the other dude came at him after the fact, he was like surprised?
Yes.
Like the last 2 or 3 dudes, he was like, the fuck? And he was like frustrated almost.
Right. He was annoyed. You could tell that that's not a part of the routine. So maybe they changed the routine, or maybe, this is the first time he found out where that place was.
So like a new part of the game.
A new part of the game. Right.
Right.
So
yeah, there's definitely something there.
But I have to admit, the little girl saying that did kind of throw me off.
Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting moment, but I'm wondering, like, so what forced you to want to do that? Like, do you really care about your mom that's dead? Like, who knows how? That's just a mystery. I hope it doesn't shit his pants. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Like, they have a lot of mystery set up, and sometimes mysteries shit their pants. And I have a lot of hope for this show that it doesn't. Speaking of mystery, Anthony Hopkins and the little boy who initially, so I immediately thought that he must have been some type of animatronic or whatever, android.
I did too.
But that's because, like, we've been doing this too long.
Yeah.
we know how to catch all the clues. But still, I don't know what that means.
To me, he mimicked a lot of what Anthony Hopkins was saying.
It might have been him.
Yes, like it might have been him.
They did have on similar outfits too.
Yes, the 2 things I noticed is he parroted pretty much whatever Anthony Hopkins said, and then they did have on very similar outfits.
Right.
And he was just roaming. It's like he comes there all the time because he was just roaming in the woods. Who roams in the desert like that?
And they've already hinted that Hopkins' character has this dark past or secret or demon in his head or in his spirit, so there must be something with that. He also, and this is something I didn't catch that somebody at the panel pointed out. So Anthony Hopkins has probably the only truly funny moment of the show is the guy who is the lead writer is getting ready to unveil this new grand story for the theme park, and it's got vivisection and self-cannibalization and tits and shooting and Native Americans and all kinds of whatever shit. And Anthony Hopkins just is like, no,
none of it.
None of it.
He's like, well, did you like something? He's like
those boots.
I like those boots. But so let's talk about the.
Well, I want to point out. So at the end, they're like, well, what about the new story? We need a new story. And the last scene is a picture of a church cross. Yes. So, and then he tells that boy who was him, don't ever come back to this area again. So clearly some shit's about to go down with this church steeple or whatever it was.
But did you have the feeling that it might be a secret town that he was working on? Because
like like maybe
because the way he said it made me think that because he brought what's his name Bernard. He brought Bernard out there, and Bernard was like wasn't shocked or fazed. He was just kind of like, oh, so this is what you've been working on.
It just hit me. That's 2 names from Brave New World.
It is 2 names from Brave New World.
Because you have Ford and you have Bernard, and I bet you if I go back and look, let me look at these characters' names. See, these y'all ain't slick. Y'all not Abrams. I'm all up in your mystery box, son. You can't fool me. All right, let me look at this shit. While we talking. So what about Bernard and old girl? What'd you think about that?
You know what? It seemed a little forced for the moment. I get what they're doing though, trying to make unreliable narrators all around you, so you kind of can't trust anybody. Because the fact that those 2 are working together or sleeping together means that they're working together, and it shows more in this episode. She's basically like, "Is the board? Are you ready to talk to the board about some other shit?" So, like, that relationship is going to come undone really quickly. And I got a feeling it's going to have to do with Bernard pushing away from her. And I feel like she's going to be more of an evil type of character. Like it's some more manipulation that we're not seeing.
So I'm looking. So aside from a dude named Chief, I don't see any other.
We don't know all.
Names,
we don't know all the characters.
We don't know who else. Yeah, we don't know who else is going to pop up. But it can't be.
It's not coincidence.
It can't be coincidence that 2 significant names from. I swear to God, these people are following me around because Brave New World is my favorite book of all time by like a wide margin.
Really?
Yeah. And so like you can't have Bernard from Brave New World pop up and Ford and have all these other elements that are reminiscent of each other and have that be by coincidence.
The fact that your favorite book of all time is Brave New World and mine is The Great Gatsby says quite a bit about us. It makes
The Great Gatsby, nigga.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, man. Like this whole. What did you think about the arc? About the 2 characters getting together?
Yeah, I'm not. I don't really. I don't. I think we'll end up seeing that as unnecessary.
Yeah.
You know what that reminds me of? Of Grey Worm getting with the black girl.
Missandei,
whatever her name is. Yeah, it's like, well, maybe it turned like because I'm assuming what they're trying to do is create a further level of conflict when shit hits the fan and they both end up on opposite sides of the problem.
Yeah,
but I think the problems are going to be so big anyway that we're not going to need the fact that they're fucking each other to further invest. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? Also, what's interesting in this episode, kind of to kind of push on a little bit. The fact that we saw so much of the workings of Westworld this episode.
We did see a lot more.
We saw a lot more behind the curtain. And
we saw the outside world for the first time, and it definitely looks dystopian.
Yeah, definitely looks dystopian. But also, did you notice that they were in front of a different table view of the world than they were last time?
Like, when they were at home or when they were in the room where they first talked?
When they were when Teresa was standing in front of that table, that's a different table. That's a different room.
No, I didn't notice that.
That's a different room than where she was at last episode. Because the last episode, there were way more people around the table. This time, there was like one person. It was a different logo in the background. It was like white and red. And it was, a different area. So maybe they have another instance of Westworld running somewhere.
Yeah, there's so little we know and understand. I think that's it. We got to get to the obvious climax. Mm-hmm. We got anything? Let's see. No.
I'm trying to think of anything.
What was Dissonant Episode? Who was that?
So that's what Bernard's character said when he was interviewing
Dolores.
He said that she was suffering from a dissonant episode. And then that went into the rampant AI, that where they were talking and he was like, hey, well, maybe this isn't contagious, talking to the behavior specialist. Remember that?
Right.
He was basically like, hey, she was like, hey, this might be contagious. He was like, no.
Yeah, he's trying to protect her in some form of fashion.
Right.
His attachment, him and Ford are attached to the robots in ways that nobody else is, which is definitely going to lead to some conflict.
Right.
But so let's get to Maeve. It is Maeve. It's hard. Well, at least that's how you pronounce it. Maybe. Who is Thandie Newton's character? Can I have just 30 seconds to point out I didn't know Thandie Newton's body
looked
like that, and I know I'm not supposed to go there first because I figured I'd get it out the way.
Get it out the way, dog. I'm right with you. She cold,
and I know it wasn't a titillating scene. It was supposed to be kind of horrifying and confusing, but I couldn't help think I've been seeing Thandie Newton on TV for a decade now.
Yeah, since I was like 20.
Right, and I feel like they must have had a body double, but they couldn't have in most of those shots. No, so I was just surprised at that because, like, when she's in her little like freaking burlesque outfit, she doesn't look like she's as voluptuous,
right?
But
they're wearing petticoats and like layers and layers and layers of shit.
Yeah. So just a second to creep out on Thandie Newton. I apologize to any who's offended, but I got to keep it real.
Yeah.
That was one of my earliest thoughts when I was watching that scene.
But before we talk about that, we're not going to talk about the fact that Bernard is secretly talking to Dolores.
Yeah, that might be important.
Yeah. like, wait a minute. No, we can't just jump to this. Like,
see, and I don't know what to make of that.
I mean,
we know he cares more. He's more interested. He's like his robots, those his passion, his babies. But
why is he wiping her log?
Right. Even to Ford, like, why hasn't he informed Ford, his boy, clearly his only real, compatriot in this game? Why doesn't he know about the situation? Or maybe he does.
I'm betting that he's not really wiping her memories. He's just wiping her encounters. Yeah.
And there was that moment where I swear she remembered the Man in Black in the first episode. Like, I swear she remembered him.
And then in this episode, did you notice whose gun that was?
It was no. Whose gun was that?
It was the Man in Black's gun. They made a point to show his gun in that episode where he was, taking the bullets out. And then if you look, when she dug up that gun, it looked exactly like the Man in Black's gun. It might be coincidence, but
there's they're really gonna fuck us up with time at some point in time.
Yeah,
especially with the Man in Black situation. Yeah. They're gonna hit us with a usual suspects level. Oh, nigga! You know what I'm saying?
So, but yeah, let's go into the ultimate moment of the episode.
Right. So, Thandie Newton's character is a prostitute who, for whatever reason, has not been pulling her weight, so to speak.
And you can pretty much say this is her episode.
Right. Yeah. It clearly is about her more than anything, which tells me that, and I thought to myself, we said this last week, they couldn't have picked Thandie Newton to play a prostitute and have that be the core. Like, there had to be more to her character. Like her character had to be really significant.
Right.
And I think we're going to end up with Thandie Newton being like the principal force in whatever revolutionary or response that the robots have. She's going to be at the center of it, like probably leading it from the front. And we know that partially because she today in this episode became self-aware if not for a moment. And there's no way she can just go back to being aware. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. She's gotta, there's gotta be consequences for her being aware of the situation like she was. So let's describe, we'll go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Let me describe exactly what happens for her. So, she's having trouble, getting it in. They tweak some shit with her and it doesn't work. And she has these like momentary flashbacks of being, chased by Native Americans, watching people get scalped, running off with her daughter, and that's we see that same scene play out like 2 or 3 times throughout the episode. Finally, the main technician woman the one that kissed the prostitute in the last episode.
The behavior specialist.
Behavior specialist, yeah. She tweaks her just enough so that finally she's back working properly. But then she has the flashback again. So I'm sorry. Before this, she's talking to the vaguely Middle Eastern prostitute girl, and she's saying she had one of those nightmares again. Which we also learned in this episode that they're given the concept of nightmares to help cope with and explain the horrible things that are done to them.
Right. Which in itself is real fucked up.
It's real fucked up. It's kind of like they're kind of asking for whatever negative thing we know is coming. They're asking for it.
Right.
You know, because they're creating monsters. Because if all the shit that happens to these people floods back into their heads at once, they're going to just end up with a bunch of crazed, murderous lunatics. You know? So she tells the vaguely Middle Eastern girl, just count to 3 and wake yourself up. And she says, I'll do that whenever I feel like I'm having a nightmare. So we follow her into a scene where she's now dreaming again about this scalping incident. And we don't really know like what the true nature of it is. Like, cause part of me thinks it's a past simulation or, you know, game. But part of me thinks it might just be a real memory of like a person. Maybe that person was her and like wasn't her, or maybe that's how they make the androids partially out of real people. And so like there's memories attached to them somehow. I don't know.
And maybe that's why oh freak. I just had an idea. And this is why way out there. What if the man in black was the recruiter of these said people?
Like what if his purpose was
to go
to corral
and get these
that's possible.
And get these people and get these memories and turn them into androids.
It's possible because at the end of this flashback, the man in black kind of suddenly appears.
Right.
You know, and has his knife out like he's about to scalp her like he did the other dude in the first episode. So it's really no telling. Again, if there's one thing in this show, like never have I been like so unable to know. Like eventually I'll be able to figure it out because they have to give us more, but no clue what's going on here. Yeah. So she's having this dream, and then she counts to 3, and she wakes herself up. She wakes herself up on the operating table because at some point in time she gets called MRSA, which is a staph infection.
Yeah,
I think. Which is another interesting thing. Like, are they really like what are they made of
that they can get like
that they can get like real diseases?
Yeah, that's what I've been thinking too.
You know, fuck man.
Obviously, I mean, obviously it's not flesh, but
it's got to be on some level because you know I'm sure there's some science fantasy to allow that to happen. I mean, obviously it's science fantasy, but
is it?
It's science. So there's science. We had this conversation.
I know.
You know, so I shouldn't say science fantasy. There's maybe some. What's the word? Somebody used it. Some liberal science something. Basically, some shit that don't really make sense in the laws of science.
Right.
But we're gonna hand wave it and just believe us. Either way, so she's on the operating table and she wakes up and she like is aware that she's somewhere she doesn't understand and is not supposed to be. She runs around for a second until she gets to a room where she sees a bunch of other androids like her, including Teddy, getting rinsed off and washed down. And, you know, just generally like, you know, like the robots they are. And she's horrified and confused. And then finally the doctors come and put her back to sleep. So, like, that is our inciting incident.
But they put her back to sleep without wiping her memories.
No, did they?
They didn't wipe her memories. They would have made it. They would have.
No. They're gonna hand wave that. There's no way. I don't know.
Hey, dog. They looked inept. Like they don't look like they knew how to handle that.
They kind of care because if they could have wiped their memories, did all that shit,
they would have done it.
They would have done it right there.
They don't have that power, dog.
Right, because the other people can be like, stop, take off your accent, memory wipe log, da 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 da. Like, so you're right. They would have did that right there when she picked up the damn scalpel.
Right.
So and they don't want to report what happened.
Right. So we just probably saw the inception of the robots starting to finally get their own. And there's
as I'm talking about it, probably last thing. So I think her and Teddy are going to hook up, or at least become companions.
You know what? Teddy gives me an odd feeling that this might be the hero's journey, and it might be his. And I know I said that earlier about the weird worker guy, the new guy, the new guest, but I feel like him and Teddy are gonna go hand in hand. Maybe it's just a feeling, but the way they keep propping Teddy up to have such lows,
fucked up situations. Yeah, he's just taking mad L's.
He's like getting what Jon Snow got, but he's getting it all at once.
Right.
Like, it's only 2 episodes. He'd have been killed 3 times.
At least 3 times.
So, they got
maybe 4.
It's at least 3. I remember.
Yeah,
3.
he should die twice in the first episode, and at least once in this episode, and maybe twice.
But again, that was just based off speculation.
So, what do you think about their reactions when another android dies? Have you noticed that for the most part, there's no fear or horror? Like when he got shot, she just kind of stood there like, all right. And then like in the first episode when it had the huge shootout, like nobody was really responding to the guns violence in the appropriate manner.
I would chalk that up to it being the Old West. And like the campy Old West
did catch it daily.
Yeah, catch it daily. But you got to think about this. We've seen the robots respond to death in a dramatic way. When Dolores got
yeah, you're right.
So it can happen. Is maybe that these robots aren't trained to be that way. So because we've seen both reactions.
Yeah, it's true.
I give it to the saloon scene. She was in the saloon in a brothel. Like she's probably like, well,
folks catch it every day.
Yeah, like whatever. Like she just wiped it off her. Wiped the blood off, kept it moving. So. But when Teddy got killed in front of Dolores, it was an emotional moment.
Because that character is supposed to respond like that.
Excuse me.
It has, it probably got something to do with storyline elements.
Exactly.
That makes sense. I think that's pretty much the whole episode and like all teasing out all the nuggets. It's so fun talking about this fucking show.
Yeah, it really is. Only time this week I'm probably going to be excited to talk to Feek. Because it's the rest of the week we gotta do. We still got BAP coming this week, and we got a Houston We Have a Problem podcast coming this week as well.
We have my special exclusive interview with Leland Belvin.
Did they tell you when you can release it? I guess you can release it whenever.
That one I think is like whenever, because that's not part of the
other stuff. Yeah. I'll drop that sometime this week.
I'll double check it tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, so that's any last thoughts?
Another good episode, man. Top to bottom, it was captivating. It got a little slow when they started doing the romance. But that was temporary. And I feel like that's world building. So I'm just looking forward. What are you looking forward to in episode 3?
I want to see what's going to go down with this church and Anthony Hopkins' plan, and I want to see. You think
that's coming to episode 3? I don't think that's coming to episode 3.
Wasn't that the last thing we saw? I feel like that was the last thing we saw in the episode.
Yeah, but that's too big to drop in episode 3.
Right. Well, you're probably right. We will get hints. Well, I'm looking forward to further developing that, and I'm definitely looking forward to see what the hell Thandy's going to be on.
Right.
In the next episode, because. That's again, like we said, that's our inciting incident. That is the point in which the conflict truly begins of the core story, and we don't even know what the conflict is. So it's got to be. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it ends up being.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to what's next. So
indeed, good show, good shit. Again, people,
excuse me.
If you fuck with us, then we are pretty confident you'll fuck with this show.
Also, thanks to everybody that's been shouting out the show, the recap show. I guess people People are listening and not even listening to or watching the show. So we got to be thorough, Feek. Some people aren't.
Oh, but definitely, yeah. Well, you got to. I'm telling y'all, like, there's y'all know me. Y'all know I don't watch hardly anything.
Yeah,
I can't manage it. But this is appointment television from here on out.
Yeah. These first 2 episodes have been insane. So, but yeah, Blackastronautspodcast at gmail.com. If you want to write in about the show, Blackastronautspodcast at gmail.com, or you can leave us a voicemail 502-498-88 or 502-500-8814. No, 502-498-8814. I have to cut that one out.
One of those numbers.
Yeah, one of those numbers.
All right, man. That's all I got. I'm going to get in the bed.
That's not how you end the show.
Oh, that's all I got. Thank you for listening to the Black Astronauts podcast featuring Feek Blurman. He's going to get in the bed.
I hate you. Peace.
Peace, man.